Uju Kakanawia, Miskoawa Teanene, Indigenous Kas, Wapski Maingan, Rodin, Kane Big Minis, Dunji. Good day, everyone. My name is Dan Thomas, and I'm an elder with Seven Oaks School Division. And today is Orange Shirt Day, and I would like to talk a little bit about residential school. First of all, that residential schools were in operation for a long time in our country. My grandparents on one side of my family attended residential school, and then I attended residential school, and also my older brother. Now, during the time that I was in school, I saw some things that happened there, and I want to talk about those a little bit. One of them is that when we first went to school, we were held down, had our hair cut off, and we were put into uniforms. And when I think about that today, this is how the military erases the identity of the people who enter the military. By cutting your hair so that you lose your individuality, and by putting you in a uniform that's the same as every other uniform, again, to lose your individuality. But they did that to children, and it was to erase who we are as Indigenous people. Some of the other things that I think about is that we were taken a long way from home. For myself, it was 1,600 kilometers from the school to my home. How would I get there? And even the school grounds were surrounded by a large metal fence. There was a guardhouse, a gate with a guardhouse, and armed guards that patrolled the school grounds, so you weren't allowed to leave when you passed them. We were only allowed to go uptown, to leave the school ground to go uptown for 2 hours on Sunday. And you had to write in a book exactly where you were going, and you had to be there when they checked on you. If you were somewhere else, then your privilege of going to town was revoked for the rest of the year. We weren't allowed to watch TV, and we went to school in the evening also, so there was a lot that happened in school that was different than outside of school. One of the things I could tell you about residential schools overall is that 52% of children that entered residential school died while they were in residential school. And that's a greater death rate than for soldiers in the Second World War. And so it was like a war on children, a war that took the lives of many, many Indigenous children. Having said that, the things I can tell you that I experienced, I had my job broke when I was in school by an employee that wasn't properly trained to do his work. I wasn't allowed to have my jaw reset, and so it healed crooked. To this day, I still have a problem with my jaw. Also, I had my ribs broken by a bully in school. I didn't have my ribs set, so they healed crooked also. So things like that happened when you were in school and you couldn't do anything about them. I remember teachers that were really physically abusive. They would hit, they would punch, do anything to hurt you. And when you complained to the principal of the school, the principal sided with the teachers. Say, don't make the teachers mad. But they were upset because we weren't white, so how could we change that? That goes on and on and on. One of the things that I can remember also is being yelled at for not making my bed military style. We had to make the bed so tight that the staff person would bounce a quarter, and it had to bounce in a particular way. If you didn't make your bed that way, you got yelled at, your bed was pulled apart, and you had to make it again, and again, and again, and again. maybe half the day you spent making your bed over and over. And when I left school, I still made my bed that way for some time. And one day when I slept in, instead of rushing to do what I was supposed to, I was making my bed. And then I realized that no one was going to come and check it. And so I didn't make it, but when I chose not to make it, something happened in my body. My body started to shake, and I didn't know why it was shaking. But it was the trauma of all of the yelling and screaming over the bed that was coming out of my body because I chose to do something different. And it took me a long time to understand that. So these things and other things like it are some of the reasons that I think it's important we remember what happened in residential schools. And so I ask each one of you, why is it important to learn about residential schools? Why do we keep that memory alive? And how does Orange Shirt Day create better relationships between Indigenous people and non-Indigenous people? These are the questions for today. Thank you, and be blessed.